I hate theater. Well, it's so disappointing, isn't it? You know what I do when I'm sitting in a darkened theater, waiting for the show to begin? I pray. Oh, dear God, please let it be a good show. And let it be short, oh Lord in heaven, please. 2 hours is fine. 3 hours is just too much. And keep the actors out of the audience. God, I didn't pay good money to have the fourth wall come crashing down around my ears. I just want a story and a few good songs that'll take me away. I just want to be entertained. I mean, isn't that the point? Amen. You know, there was a time when people sat in darkened theaters and thought to themselves, what if George and Ira Gershwin got for us tonight? Or, can Cole Porter pull it off again? Can you imagine? Now it's just, please, Elton John, must we continue this charade? It used to be, sitting there in the dark, you knew that when the show began, you'd be taken to another world, a world full of color and music and glamour. And you thought to yourself, my God, when are they going to bring up the lights? Oh, how times have changed. Hello. How are we today? Feeling a little blue myself. Oh, you know, a little anxious for no particular reason. A little sad that I should feel anxious at my age. A little self-conscious anxiety resulting in a non-specific sadness. A state I call blue. Whenever I'm feeling this way, blue, I like to listen to my music. So, I was going through my records this morning. Yes, records. And I was about to put on the soundtrack recording of Meredith Willson's The Music Man. I had a craving for a young Ronnie Howard. But then I said no. Let's have a treat. Let's go back to the decadent era of the 1920s, when the champagne flowed and the caviar chilled and all the world was a party. For the wealthy, anyways. So I dug about, and what did I find but one of my favorite shows, Gable and Stein's The Drowsy Chaperone. Remember? Music by Julie Gable, lyrics by Sidney Stein. It's the 2-record set remastered from the original recording made in 1928. It's got the full cast, including Beatrice Stockwell as the chaperone. Isn't she elegant? And this is a full 15 years before she became Dame Beatrice Stockwell. Can you believe it? Here, let me read to you what it says on the back. It says, mix-ups, mayhem, and a gay wedding. Well, I suppose the phrase gay wedding has a different meaning nowadays. But back then it just meant fun. And that's just what this show is. It's fun. So, would you indulge me? Would you allow me to play this record for you? I was hoping you'd say yes. Hear that static? I love that sound. To me, it's the sound of a time machine starting up. All right, now, let's visualize. Imagine this, if you will. You've just arrived at the doors of the Morosco Theater in New York. It's very cold. Remember when it used to be cold in November? Not anymore. November's the new August now. It's global warming. We're all doomed. Anyways. It's very cold and there's a gray sleet falling from the sky, but you don't care because you're going to see a Broadway show. Listen. Isn't this wonderful? It helps if you close your eyes. Overtures. The overtures are out of style now. I miss them. An overture is a musical's way of welcoming you. Hello. Welcome. The main course will be served shortly, but until then, would you like an appetizer? That's just what an overture is. It's a musical appetizer. A poo-poo platter of tunes, if you will. Oh? Something new? What could it be? It sounds like a dance tune, kind of rollicking. Maybe it involves pirates. Don't worry, there are no pirates. Now here it comes, the moment when the music starts to build and you know you're only seconds away from being transported. The curtain's opening up. I can't wait.
Yes, madam.
How do I look?
Oh, you look radiant, Mrs. Tottenham.
I do love this dress so. It never goes out of style.
It's a miracle, madam.
My dress, my fancy dress. I don't know why I'm wearing it, I must confess. My dress, I love my dress. Will someone tell me why I put it on?
Yes, yes! Your dress, your fancy dress, was such a pleasure airing it, restitching and preparing it. God bless. Your dress is one fine dress, and I will tell you why you put it on. Wedding bells will ring, wedding bells will chime. Madam, you're the hostess, and it's happy wedding time. Wedding bells will ring, wedding bells will hum, wedding bells will ding, and we will sing along. Your dress, your fancy dress, we're very, very happy to put it on. Wedding guests have come, wedding guests are here, wedding guests are at the door, and soon they will appear. I'm Robert, the bridegroom, I'm here to marry Jen. That's the Belting's Follies, whom I love a lot. George, that's George, his best man, George. I'm honored to be doing what a best man ought.
Mrs. Tottenham, don't worry, I have this whole wedding under control. The key is organization, see? Each one of these strings represents a task yet to be completed. Book the minister, pay the musician, and yell at the florist. The whole wedding is gonna run like clockwork.
Oh, there's going to be a wedding?
I'm Belting, producer. I lost my leading lady. I gotta stop this wedding or I'm not worth squatting.
I'm Kitty, just Kitty. I came with Mr. Belting. I'll be a leading lady if I get my shot.
We're pastry chefs, because our heart, we're pastry chefs. A bakery is what we've got. A dark A wedding today.
Champagne makes me drowsy.
It's really happening. Truly happening. Almost happening. What is happening?
I'm Trix, the aviatrix, queen of the sky. I circle through the stratus in my modern apparatus. I'm Trix, the aviatrix. I gotta fly. I'll see you when they tie the knot.
A wedding, ring-a-ling, ding-a-ling. A wedding,
All the guests have arrived. A bride who's giving up the stage for love, a debonair bridegroom, a harried producer, a jovial gangsters posing as pastry chefs, a flaky Corrine, a lad Lothario, and an aviatrix,
Truly
which we now call a lesbian.
almost happening.
And of course, my favorite character, the Drowsy Chaperone. What more do you need from the evening's entertainment? Wasn't that wonderful? And we will ding along. I don't even know what that means. Anyway, I'll guide you through this record as best I can, but don't worry, it's not hard to follow. So, we begin with a welcome from the love-struck groom.
Well, I just wanted to thank you all for coming. I tell you, I must be some lucky fellow. Why, who would have thought that I, Robert Martin, would be marrying a glamorous showgirl, and that glamorous showgirl would be willing to give up a successful career for me, Robert Martin. Now, if it weren't for Prohibition, I'd say, let's raise a glass.
Here, here.
To Miss Janet Van der Graaf, the most beautiful girl in the world.
Absolutely not.
Excuse me?
The groom mustn't see the bride on the wedding day. It's bad luck.
I hope you heard that, because that's the plot. Basically. Hang on for the ride.
Breakfast will be served in the Arabian room.
Say, it's a little early to be drinking, isn't it?
I don't understand the question.
All right, look. You just keep Janet away from Robert. You're the chaperone. That's your only job?
Aye, aye, mon capitan.
Oh, Robert, who's my little monkey?
I'm your little monkey.
And so the bride and the groom are whisked away, and we turn our attention to the B plot, which involves the producer.
Mr. Feldig,
Getting married and leaving show business.
Mr. Feldig,
Doesn't she know I got obligations?
Mr. Feldig! I can be a leading lady. You said it yourself. I'm useless in the chorus.
Kitty, for the last time. You ain't got what it takes.
But I've been taking lessons. Singing, acting, ballet.
Ballet.
Yeah, I'm pretty good too. Last week, I auditioned for Swanee Lake.
A little annotation. Kitty and Felzik were a couple in real life. Jack and Sadie Adler. Now, this is a familiar comic construct. A stupid woman and her long-suffering companion. Well, she appears stupid, but in the end, she does something clever and makes everyone wonder whether it was all just an act. The irony here is that Sadie was quite stupid in real life. Jack had to explain all the jokes to her, apparently. Still, she had a wonderful career on the stage. At that time, the theater was the only place where stupid people could earn a decent living. This was before television, of course.
Kitty, I don't have time for this.
A penny for Mr. Feldzig.
Not now.
Perhaps a nice profiterole.
Boys, I'm not hungry.
Then perhaps we can give you something else to chew on. Yeah, something that ain't food.
What?
Your confusion is to be expected. Although we stand here before you in the guise of innocent pastry chefs, we are also,
And primarily,
employees of a certain individual.
A certain individual?
a certain individual.
Who happens to be the largest single investor of Felsige's Follies. He has sent us here
As pastry chefs,
to express his concern about Miss Vandergraaf's impending nuptials.
specifically.
That if she gets married and leaves the show, then there ain't no show.
Say, don't I know you?
No, you don't.
Ever spent any time in Toledo?
Have you ever spent any time in a coma?
No. Oh, but I have a cousin in Seattle.
Kitty, boys, you tell your boss that this wedding is never going to happen. You have my word.
Oh, we'll take your word, all right.
But to go back in that wood would be a recipe for disaster. Now we do hope we made ourselves perfectly eclair.
One cannoli hope.
You Piscotti be kidding.
A trifle much.
Don't tart with me.
All right. You can drop the pastry chef routine.
Alas, we ganache.
We're on the lamb.
Lamb's an entree, you macaroon.
The gangsters were played by interchangeable vaudeville duo, the Tall Brothers, John and Peter Tall. They were born Abram and Mendel Moskowitz, but were renamed at Ellis Island by a sarcastic immigration official. Now, they were an early example of the typical Broadway gangster, full of wordplay and stylized movements. Not very intimidating, unless you find dancers intimidating, which I do. But for reasons that would not be appropriate to the situation.
We'll leave the matter in your hands, Mr. Felzig. In the meantime, feel free to browse the dessert carousel.
Try the Toledo surprise.
It's to die for.
Holy cats, Mr. Felzig. They're gangsters.
Very perceptive. Now go powder your face. I gotta stop this wedding, but how? Oh, Lord in heaven, how? How? How?
I always thought that moment was a little overplayed. So, with the story well on its way, we go to the groom's room.
Hey there, handsome. Show me them pearly whites.
The groom was played by the dashing Percy Hyman. He was the Albright toothpaste man, remember? Albright was hugely popular in the early 20s because it contained cocaine. Oh, it's true. If you looked at the label, it was the 5th ingredient down, right after sugar. Anyway, it wasn't long before he became a huge matinee idol.
Now, don't you worry. It's perfectly normal for a groom to be nervous on his wedding day. It is? Of course!
I love Percy Hyman. Now, some people might say that he was a bad actor, but to those people I say, shut up.
Hey there, Mr. Mirror Man, shaking and a-quaking, trembling like them fraidy cats do. Something big be bothering you. Cold feet, brother, you've got cold feet. You can make them cold feet hot with a little rhythm. Young feet, old feet can be uncontrolled feet. Forever make them cold feet trot down the aisle, cross the arches, and can learn to swing. make frigid souls come alive and take that dive. Cold feet, schmo. Your bold feet, you can make them cold feet hot.
You don't say! Well, why don't you slime back into your mud hole, you backstabbing worm? Well, I guess I have to find a new minister. Hey, Robert, what are you up to?
I'm singing a song an old Negro taught me. A Dixie remedy for wedding day jitters.
You think you got the jitters? You got the easy part. I stopped to get rice, boutonnieres, and a minister. I have the weight of the wedding on my shoulders.
George, it sounds like you've got cold feet.
What do I got?
Cold feet.
What do I want?
Bald feet.
What do I do? Scald feet?
No! You make the cold feet hot. A 5, 6, 7, 8. Cold feet, cold feet. Turn them into cold feet. That'll make them cold feet hot. You make the cold feet hot. You make cold feet hot. You make cold feet hot. You make the cold feet hot.
Percy Hyman was a wonderful performer. I like to think of him panting and sweating after a long dance routine. He's still alive, you know. I saw him on the news recently celebrating his 100th birthday. To say that the passing years have taken their toll on him would be a grotesque understatement. They wheeled him out and he had that wide-eyed expression of pained confusion that God reserves for the very, very old on their birthday. You know the one. The one that says, "Who are you? Who am I? And why is this cake on fire?" You know what I'm talking about? Anyway.
All right. That's enough of that tap dancing around like a fool.
Sorry, George. I'm just trying to calm my nerves. It is my wedding day, after all.
Well, you could have snapped an ankle. Tap dancing is too dangerous. Why don't you go out for a skate instead?
George, what would I do without you?
Oh, no. Oh, no. What was I thinking? You can't go out looking like that. You might see Janet. Here, put on this blindfold.
George, you think of everything.
Just looking out for you, my boy. And no more tap dancing. Wedding bells will ring. Wedding bells will chime. Wedding bells will celebrate.
Sorry, it does this occasionally. It rings. Just ignore it. It'll go away eventually. Oh, what? What do you want?
Hello, you have reached my answering machine. Leave a short message after the tone, and I'll call you back at my convenience.
Oh, well, that's it. The moment's ruined. Thank you. Thank you, life. It's like a cell phone going off in a theater. God, I hate that. It's like, oh, hello. What are you doing today? Oh, well, I'm at the theater ruining the moment. What about you? Oh, well, I couldn't get out tonight, so I thought I'd ruin the moment by proxy. Sorry, let's just shake that off. Let's go back in our heads to 1928. They didn't have cell phones back then. Although, I'm sure they had something for the ruining of moments. Bugles or something.
Happy wedding time.
So the scene shifts, and we make our way to the bride, the glamorous Janet Van der Graaf, entertaining questions from reporters as she lounges by the pool.
Janet Van der Graaf, is it true that you're giving up a successful career on the stage for a man you hardly know?
Yes. Robert and I met on the Lido deck of the Ile-de-France. He amused me with stories of his father's oil interests. We spooned briefly, and then he proposed.
So, you won't be returning to the stage ever?
I shan't.
You shan't?
I shan't.
Can we quote you on that?
Of course. One more question. Yes.
Why in the world would anyone put olives in a Gibson?
I got a question. Why would you leave the footlights of the stage when you know very well that you've got grease paint in your veins?
Victor, please.
Oh, Janet, I'm begging you. Dump the mug. Stay with the Follies. I'll give you anything. Oh, fine. I'll put your name above mine in the marquee.
Victor, if you think this has anything to do with vanity, you couldn't be more wrong. I don't want to show off no more. I don't want to sing tunes no more. I don't want to write news no more. I don't want to show off. I don't want to wear this no more. Play the saucy Swiss no more. Blow my signature no more. I don't want to show off. Don't try to convince me. I've made up my mind, and that's it. I quit. I'm leaving it all behind. I don't want to be cute no more.
something?
Well, Mr. Feldzig, it looks like Miss Vandergraff has no desire to continue her life on stage.
Can't you see it's killing her soul?
Don't worry, boys. This isn't over yet.
Yeah. I'm surprised she didn't do an encore.
I don't wanna encore no more. Keep on shouting for more. Make the audience roar no more. I don't wanna show.
That was Jane Roberts as the bride. She was the Oops girl, remember? Oh, surely you remember the Oops girl. Don't you people read? She was billed as the girl whose sexual energy was so great that it caused men around her to have accidents. Oh, spill their drinks and drive their cars into trees. And she'd always go, oops. Well, I suppose I'm not doing it any justice, but people ate it up. She even made a whole series of films out of it. Oops, the Oops Girl. Oops Girl Come Home. Oops, She Did It Again. And Oops Girl at Sea, which won an Oscar for special effects.
All right. Begging and groveling didn't work. Well, on to plan B. And for that, I'm gonna need an accomplice. Someone gullible, with loose morals. I need a, what do you call him? A European. La 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 la.
In walks Adolfo, a self-proclaimed ladies' man. Adolfo was played by former silent film star and world-class alcoholic Roman Bartelli. He was the one who later drank himself to death in a chateau in Nice. Remember? It was 5 days before they found the body, and at that point it had been partially consumed by his poodles. Well, it had only been partially consumed.
Excuse me, but I don't believe that we've met.
I am Adolfo.
You are Adolfo.
Yes, I am Adolfo.
Not the Adolfo.
Yes, I am Adolfo.
Funny. You don't look like a scoundrel.
Yes, what?
Yes. I just heard the groom say that Adolfo is a scoundrel. I just heard him say that.
Adolfo a scoundrel?
Those very words.
Adolfo is a scoundrel.
Like I'm hearing it again.
This is outrageous. He's saying this to people, to beautiful ladies with breasts for making love. Why, I must.
You must take matters into your own hands.
Yes, I must take this groom into my hands and kill him.
Yes! No. Don't do that. Just hurt him enough so he can't get married.
Take me to this groom. Wait.
What?
What kind of man is this groom? Big man?
Well,
a burly fellow.
Well, he's big on the outside.
No. Adolfo will not fight big men. Small, pale, wheezy little dwarf people, Adolfo can punt far away, but no big man.
Oh, so you're a lover, not a fighter.
Yes, Adolfo is a lover of beautiful ladies. Some say I am king of romance.
Well, you know the best way to get revenge on a man is through his...
Sword!
No. The best way to get back at a man is through his...
Window!
No. The best way... back at a man through his...
Through his there are no other ways. I'm not Santa Claus coming down chimney.
Through his woman!
Oh, Mama.
You must seduce his woman. His bride.
Adolfo will make love to the bride. That will show people Adolfo is no scoundrel. Show me to this bride. Wait. What? What kind of woman is this bride? Big woman? No. A burly woman? No. She's the cat's pajamas. Pajamas? Oh, look her. An attractive woman? Show me this cat in pajamas. Aldolfo will make her. Stop it. Like a cat in pajamas. This way.
Roman Bartelli chewing the scenery. You certainly couldn't get away with a performance like that nowadays. Modern, contemporary audiences are too sophisticated for broad racial stereotypes on the stage. So we've banished them to Disney. Let the children sort that out.
Underling,
Yes, madam.
the pastry chefs have been kind enough to provide the liquor for the party. But remember, Underling, we have to be discreet.
Yes, madam.
It is prohibition after all.
I'm aware of that, madam.
We'll have to use code words. For instance, if someone says they want a glass of ice water, it really means they want a glass of vodka. Have you got that?
Yes, madam.
Are you sure? Maybe you should write it down.
I understand, madam. A glass of ice water is a glass of vodka.
What's a glass of ice water?
Vodka.
Ice water?
Vodka.
Ice-
Vodka!
Well, you see, that's settled then. One less thing to do. Underling, might I have a glass of ice water? I found our meeting with the pastry chefs rather trying, and I would appreciate a glass of refreshing ice water.
Your ice water, madam.
That was pure vodka, you poop!
I hate this scene.
Well, now I really do need a glass of ice water.
A glass of ice water, madam?
Yes, ice water. Are you going deaf?
Would that I were.
You can see where this is going, can't you? It's really just a series of spit takes.
Your ice water, madam.
That was pure vodka, you poop!
You know, some aspects of the Drowsy Chaperone were quite progressive for the time.
Your ice water, madam.
That was pure vodka, you poop!
Yes, some aspects were quite progressive. Others were stale in 1928. You know what? I'm just going to skip ahead.
That was... That... Poop? Where are you going?
To find some lime juice, madam.
Lime juice? For heaven's sake, why?
So I can wring out my eyebrows and make myself a gimlet.
Now, you're probably asking yourself what that routine was doing in the show. It's simple, really. There's a song coming up, and they needed to allow for the set to change. It's mechanics. It's like pornography. Allow me to explain myself. You see, in pornography, the story is simplistic. How do I pay for this pizza being the classic example. My point is, as in a musical, the story exists only to connect the longer, more engaging production numbers. What? Well, what kind of society do we live in if I can't discuss the similarities between pornography and musical theater?
In just a few hours, I am going to be Mrs. Robert Martin. Oh, my head is spinning.
Yes, life is a mad whirlwind.
Now, this is a really interesting scene. This is the only scene in the show where Jane Roberts and Beatrice Stockwell are alone together on the stage. Now, Jane Roberts was an emerging star, but Beatrice Stockwell was already well established and a force to contend with.
I'm so full of apprehension, but I suppose that's normal considering the circumstances. Have you ever been married, Chaperone?
No, I drink for pleasure, not out of necessity.
Your ice water, madam. I'm afraid we are fresh out of olives.
Have you ever been married, underling?
Oh, heavens no, darling. If I'm going to serve a woman, I prefer to be paid for my efforts.
Oh, you two. I know it sounds crazy to give up a successful career to marry a man I hardly know, but somehow, for some reason, when I look into his eyes, his big monkey eyes. Ah, gee, I get all woozy. And that's love, isn't it?
Not necessarily. The wooziness could be caused by any number of things. I mean, I'm woozy right now, and I'm certainly not in love.
Now, Beatrice Stockwell was famous for her rousing anthems. She entertained and inspired the troops of every major world conflict, up to and including the Falklands War. Although, at that point, she was in her late 80s, and she didn't so much as rouse than stupefy. Still, she insisted that a rousing anthem be included in every show she ever did. You just couldn't say no to her. Now that is star power.
Really, you're not being the least bit helpful. Couldn't you at least allay my fears with a few choice words of inspiration?
Inspiration? Really, dear, that's not my forte.
Well, yes, but, you know, maybe you could just...
As we stumble along on life's funny journey, as we stumble along into the blue, we look here and we look there, seeking answers anywhere, and never sure of where to turn or what to do. Still we bumble our way through life's crazy labyrinth, barely knowing left from right nor right from wrong. And the best that we can do is hope a bluebird will sing his song as we stumble along.
Oh, that was quite... That was quite nice, Chaperone, but I don't see how this pertains to my situation.
Here, let me explain.
Oh, that's really not necessary. I suppose I'm just, you know, looking for a sort of sympathetic...
It's a dismal little world in which we live. It can bore you till you've nothing left to give. 7 overrated wonders, 7 underwhelming seas, 6 excruciating continents, Antarctica. Oh, please.
Antarctica. No, please.
Still, you mustn't let it lick ya. This planet, oh so bland. Keep your eyeball on the highball in your hand. As we stumble along, cross life's crowded dance floors. As we push and we shove, we live and we learn. And when we finally leave the bar and we see that morning star, we pull our bootstraps up and homeward turn. Then we stumble away through dawn's blinding sunbeams, barely knowing right from right or left from wrong. But as long as we can hear that little bluebird, there'll be a song as we stumble along, as we stumble, fumble, 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 as we stumble.
Don't you just love her? She basically just sang a rousing anthem about alcoholism. And that's just what I love about her. She does her own thing when she wants, regardless of the needs or concerns of others. My mother was like that.
That was quite inspiring, Chaperone, but I'm still conflicted. Oh, please, just tell me, is Robert the man for me?
My dear, that is something you have to decide for yourself.
But I just don't know if he loves me.
Well, why don't you ask him? Why don't you say, Roger, do you love me?
It's Robert.
Oh.
And I'm not allowed to see him. In fact, it's your job to keep me away from him.
You're right. And I take the responsibility very seriously. However, I'm just this moment feeling terribly, terribly drowsy. I'm afraid I'll have to have a lie down. Now, whatever you do, don't go wandering through the garden, seeking out your fiancé to ask him the question upon which your future happiness depends.
Oh! Thank you, Chaperone. I just have to know if he loves me.
Such a skinny little fool. Still, I envy her. Oh, when will love come crashing through my door?
La 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 la.
In walks Aldolfo, come to seduce the bride.
I am Aldolfo.
Try not to think of the poodles when you're listening to this part.
I am Aldolfo, and you are bride.
No, I am not.
What? But this is bridal suite, and you are only one here. Therefore, you must be bride.
Interesting argument, but I'm afraid you are a moron.
What?
Me, no bride. Perhaps I can take a message.
Yes, very good. Dear Vandergraaf bride, I must love to you and transport you to a place of ecstasy. Sooner is better. Signed, Aldolfo, King of Romance.
Well, you saw through my little ruse. You found me out.
So you are the bride.
Apparently, yes. Take me, Aldalface.
No. Not Aldalface. Aldalfo. You must remember my name when we are making love and you are screaming. You must say the right name or it will spoil everything. How can I make you remember? I'm sure that you have heard the name Aldolfo, a ladies' man who wins the claim Aldolfo. Well, lovely miss, I am the same Aldolfo. I introduce myself, I am Aldolfo.
Nice to meet you. Shall we?
Not so fast, so just in case you didn't hear Aldolfo, I'll try to make it very clear Aldolfo. The lovely ladies always cheer Aldolfo. When I repeat myself, I am Aldolfo.
Understood.
I can sing it high, Aldolfo. I can sing it low, Aldolfo. I can sing it very fast. I can sing it very slowly. I do it now, but it will take hours. Now let us see if you can remember my name.
I'll give it a shot.
Now who's the fellow that you see?
Aldalfo.
And how shall you refer to me?
Aldalfo.
And who is it I always be?
Aldalfo.
Now sing it proudly.
You are Aldalfo.
Now let me spell it out for you. For all of you lovely ladies who didn't hear for some reason, because maybe you are hard of hearing or something. I don't know. It goes.
That was my mother's favorite number. I think it was her secret fantasy to be swept off her feet by a Latin lover. I mean, a real Latin lover, not a buffoon. But I guess that's what musicals are all about, right? Romantic fantasy, falling in love at the drop of a hat, spontaneous tangoing, suddenly finding yourself in an insanely romantic setting.
Don't worry, miss. I'm getting married today, so I have to wear this blindfold.
A blindfold?
I'm sorry. Who am I speaking to anyhow?
Why, it's me! I mean, Mimi. Mimi from France.
This scene couldn't be more ridiculous.
Sir, you are marrying Jeannette Vandegraff, no?
Oui.
I hear she is very beautiful
Oui.
and glamorous.
Oui.
Is it true that she has an exceptionally broad range and excels at playing both comedic and dramatic roles?
Say, I'm having trouble placing your accent. What part of France are you from?
The middle part? Where they make the toast? So, you were telling me about your, how you say in English, fiancé?
That's right.
So, tell me, when was the moment you knew that she was the only one for you?
It's a funny story, actually. We were standing on the Lido deck on the Ile-de-France.
Yes.
I was amusing her with stories of my father's oil interests.
And then what happened?
I looked into her eyes, her big, glamorous eyes, and I felt all woozy.
And then you fell? And then you fell?
Yes, right on my keister. And I said, well, I guess I don't have my sea legs yet.
And we hadn't even left the dock.
That's what she said. And that's when I knew it must be love.
And then you said?
And then I said, there was a time I could stop on a dime. Forbearance was one of my talents. But since you've been around, I can't hold my ground. I'm consistently losing my balance. I'm an accident waiting to happen. I'm a mishap about to ensue. I'm the toy on the stair, the three-legged chair, the hem that's been caught by a shoe. When my two lovesick arms started flapping, there was nothing my ankles could do. I'm an accident waiting to happen, so how be I happen to you?
And then what happened?
Then she joined in.
When men say I'm sweet and they fall at my feet, my heart doesn't beat any faster. But when you lose control, it touches my soul. So I'm bracing myself for disaster. You're an accident waiting to happen.
That's right.
A catastrophe destined to be.
That's me. I'm the rags in the cellar.
A broken umbrella, a branch hanging loose from a tree. I can see myself jumping and clapping for a man who lives dangerously.
I'm an accident waiting to happen.
So hurry and happen to me.
I'm an accident waiting to happen. So hurry and happen to
Wait a minute! You kissed a strange French girl on your wedding day!
Oh no, what have I done? Wait!
Oh no, what a mess. It seems as though the blindfold and the fake French accent had led to a terrible misunderstanding. Will it all work out in the end? Of course it will. It's not real, it's a musical. And everything always works out in musicals. Not like in real life, where nothing ever works out and the only people who break out into song are the hopelessly deranged.
Mr. Felding.
Where is that philandering foreigner?
Mr. Felding.
How long could it take to seduce one bride?
Mr. Felding, you don't need Janet no more. I've been working on a mind-reading act. Presenting Kitty the Incomprehensible.
something.
Oh, I'm thinking of something, all right.
Wait, I'm getting something. Pick up some milk. And a loaf of rye bread. And don't forget to shave your legs.
You're reading your own mind, you idiot.
No wonder it was so easy.
Mr. Feldzig, it would seem that the wedding is proceeding according to schedule. Now it is time you received your just desserts. What do you say, partner? Should we whip something special up for Mr. Feldzig?
Yeah, how about a Toledo surprise?
An inspired choice.
A Toledo surprise? I've never heard of that.
No, you haven't. That is because those people who have heard of it are generally never heard from again.
We'll share the recipe with you.
First, you chop the nuts.
Then you pound the dough.
Then you bake it up, nice and slow. And then you got your Toledo surprise!
Could you boys run that by me again?
It's a very simple recipe, Mr. Feldzig.
First, you chop the nuts.
Then you pound the dough.
Then you bake it up nice and slow. And then you got your Toledo surprise! Say, why don't we give him a little taste?
All right, hold it. What style? What grace? Open your fists. Now shake them. Give me that recipe one more time. Da 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 da.
Chop the nuts, pound the dough, bake it up, nice and slow. Then you got a Toledo surprise. Sell it, hit the beach, peel the skin, mush it up, throw it in. That's a tasty Toledo surprise. First you beat it up, then you sweeten it up. When you heat it up, if it tries to rise, don't let it snap. Try it folks, whip your whites, split your yolks. Then you got a Toledo surprise.
You boys are natural.
Honest?
Keep it up. I'll go work on the contracts.
Hey!
A 5, 6, 7, 8.
Mr. Feldzig. Oh, what's going on here?
Kitty, you're just in time. I'm developing a new act.
Toledo surprise.
You mean you're putting gangsters in the show and you won't put me in it? They're not even in the union.
You got it all wrong. The new act, it's for you, Kitty. And these boys are your backup dancers.
Backup dancers? Holy cats! Burn that hot Toledo dust in my libido. Get Toledo, sugary yum yum. Race the band, sing the spoon, what's the plan? They keep us, they have Toledo surprise.
Adolfo, he make announcement. Wedding is off.
What? For the love of God, why?
Adolfo has made love to the bride.
That's not the bride. You idiot, that's the chaperone.
What?
The wedding is on!
The wedding is off!
What?
Robert kissed a French girl. Her name is Mimi. She's very beautiful.
I couldn't help it, Janet. She was just like you. Only French.
Sweet mother of pearl.
Underling,
Yes, madam.
what's all this commotion about?
The wedding, madam.
Oh, there's going to be a wedding?
Not anymore.
Oh.
Oh, what a tragedy. What a wonderful, wonderful tragedy. Clear the floor, boys. I'll show you how it's done. First you beat it up, then you sweep it up. When you beat it up, if it tries to rise, don't let it. Toledo surprise.
Surprise. Wait till it's ready. Surprise. Wait till it's ready. Surprise.
Wait till it's ready.
Now it's looking ready. Surprise!
You got it.
This dessert
dancing. Our dreams are in tatters.
Yes, yes. But the tune is so infectious.
Robert! This is the saddest day of my life.
And that's that. The curtain closes and it's time for intermission. At least it would be if we were actually sitting in the Morosco Theater in New York watching the Drowsy Chaperone, which of course, we're not. I don't like intermissions. They ruin the magic, you know? One moment, you're lost in a glamorous world of music and romance, and then, bam, you're surrounded by tourists. Crinkling candy wrappers and nattering about the lack of women's restrooms. It's cruel. Oh, it's a power bar. I have a bit of a blood sugar issue. I have to eat small meals throughout the day or else I get all jittery. I know it's rude, but you wouldn't like the alternative. Believe you me. Believe you me. I remember my wedding day. I didn't eat breakfast, and the ceremony wasn't until 4 in the afternoon. Ah! I do! Are you surprised I was married? Well, there you go. You shouldn't go making assumptions about people, should you? Very rude. I'm a very complicated person. I have to pee now. No, I won't be long, and while I'm gone, you can listen to the beginning of Act 2.
American ready, no see eye to eye.
But Emperor, sometimes a different perspective can change your point of view.
What?
Precisely. What is it about the Asians that fascinates Caucasians? What is it about the Asians that's so nice? Is it the wontons, the egg rolls, the rice? Perhaps it's Buddha or Confucius or their excellent advice.
What is it about Caucasians that mystifies the Asians? What is it about Caucasians that's so odd? They call a pretty lady a word. They have hair upon their chest and they only have one god. Impossible!
Sorry. That song is not from the Drowsy Chaperone. That's from another musical entirely. I have a woman who comes in once a month. Can you say that? I have a woman? Anyways, she comes in and she cleans the things that I absolutely refuse to clean. She's very good, but she has an annoying habit of putting my records away, and in the wrong sleeves. Even though I tell her, no touch records, Carmela. No touch. Well, I suppose if I spoke to her in complete sentences, she'd stop touching my records. Anyway, that song began Act 2 of a different Gablenstein show, The Enchanted Nightingale, a degrading piece of chinoiserie about a Chinese emperor who was told by a magic bird to marry his American elocutionist and ends up building the Great Wall of China. A slap in the face to 4,000 years of Chinese history. But it had some wonderful tunes. That was Beatrice Stockwell as American Rady. And did you recognize Roman Bartelli as the Emperor? Yes, he was a man of 1,000 accents, all of them insulting. Act 2 of The Drowsy Chaperone begins with this. A haunting lament from a very depressed bride. She sings it standing on her balcony, bathed in the pale blue light of a sympathetic moon, which is ridiculous because it's the middle of the day. Now, while you're listening to this, try to ignore the lyrics. Now, I know it'll be difficult, but block them out. They're not the best, but the tune truly communicates the bride's state of mind. Just ignore the lyrics.
I put a monkey on a pedestal and tried to make that monkey stay. And he did for a time, but he needed to climb and with other monkeys play far away. He left his jacket on that pedestal beside his tiny rusty cup. And I haven't got the strength to pick them up. Oh, monkey, 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 you broke my heart in two. But I'll always save that pencil for you.
I'm just going to pour myself a brandy.
Come, my little monkey. Come, my little monkey.
The melody is so simple, it just floats in the air. And I must confess, I always get a little misty when I think about that tiny jacket lying on the pedestal, its long sleeves dangling on the floor. Oh, monkey, monkey, monkey,
You broke my heart in two. But I'll always save that pedestal
control.
for you. Come, my
What about the love of one man?
What do I care about the love of one man when I am adored by millions? Do I need to be so gloomy? No, no, no. I'm more honest, so I chose. Sigmund Freud sends flowers to me every show. Gertrude died, she handed me a rose.
Now, Jimmy, let's go.
I'm Janet Van Beach, so pale that I can't hammer. Do I give up a life of glamour? Life of glamour? Life of glamour? No!
Okay, I love this part. Okay, it completely will break down. Monkey.
I'm an accident waiting to happen. I don't want to show off no more. I don't want to spread mirth no more. Be the greatest on earth no more. I don't wanna. I don't wanna. I do. I don't wanna show. And I think sure, Janet, future is secure, Janet, millions will do just fine. But any future I could ever care to shape includes just 1, 2 time in cat who drives me What a fool I've been. I know now that I love you. And I use it always. This love, I pretty know.
That's the story of a monkey gone astray.
I asked
Monkey,
the stars. Is it the monkey or my
Don't you just love that number? It has everything. A little Busby Berkeley, a little Jane Goodall. And that's another thing I love about musicals in general. When a character is in crisis, they sing and they dance, which is so much more interesting than just whining about it. But I guess that's the glory of musical theater. Oh, you see? This is what I'm talking about. This is life. You manage to be happy for 5 seconds and then something starts ringing.
What a beautiful day for a wedding.
Shall I have the pews removed now or later, madam?
Now, I'm going to stop it here because I don't want this number ruined by a ringing telephone. Here we have 2 vaudeville performers who have slipped through the cracks of time. We have Noel Fitzpatrick and Ukulele Lil. I don't know anything about them. Well, I suppose Ukulele Lil played the ukulele, although she doesn't in this show. I even tried to find out more about her. I went through all my books. I even tried the internet. But all my searches ended with Tiny Tim's autopsy photographs. Still, they're both very charming.
Why would you have the pews removed?
The bride has called off the wedding, madam.
Oh, underling, never listen to a bride on her wedding day. Love is a very complex emotion, underling.
Yes, madam.
You can be very close to someone 1 minute, and the next minute, why, you just want to strangle them! Do you understand?
Yes, madam, I'm familiar with the urge to strangle. Yes!
You see, that's just the nature of love. Love makes lovers worry, love makes lovers fret. But here's a fact on which we can depend. Just like Wallkill and Romeo loved Juliet, love is always lovely in the end.
Might I remind you, madam, Romeo and Juliet was a tragedy.
Oh, I never read reviews. Love can start a quarrel, love can cause a din, but love has always been a trusty friend. 'Twas a happy day for Henry and Anne Boleyn. Love is always lovely in the end.
What? Anne Boleyn lost her head!
Yes, she was in love. Love was good, sweet, and Adam.
Here we go again.
And Samson and Delilah too.
Good grief! May I pose a question, madam?
Why, yes, of course.
Why does nothing I say to you ever get through?
Don't mind if I do. Love is always lovely in the end.
Well, I found that quite taxing, madam. Excuse me while I go pour myself a glass of ice water.
Love sneaks up behind you, love drops from above, but love would never consciously offend. Love has certainly been kind to me and my true love. Love is always lovely in the end.
But your late husband was a brute.
I don't mean him, you silly coot. Love is always lovely.
Lovely, lovely, lovely.
Love is always lovely in the end. Love is always lovely in the end.
Yes, that number was quite charming, but on some level, that number pisses me off. Now, I'm going to say something here. Yes, I have been drinking. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say that love is not always lovely in the end. Often in the end, there are lawyers. And another thing. Was it just me that noticed the awkward sexual connotation of that title? Love is always lovely in the end. Is it just me? I just think that number is naive and irresponsibly so. Sorry. It had to be said for the benefit of the young people. I won't interrupt anymore, I'm sorry. Oh, there's a moment coming up that I've become absolutely obsessed with.
Oh, there you are. Oh, chaperone, I'm in a terrible state.
You certainly are. You can't go to the wedding looking like that.
Oh, you poor dear, haven't you heard? The wedding's been called off.
Not your wedding. Mine. Which reminds me, might I borrow your veil?
You're getting married? But to whom?
La 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 la. Ah, beautiful lady with baffled expression.
You're marrying Aldolfo?
I know it's surprising, but When I look into his eyes, his big, clumsy eyes, I get all drowsy. And that's love, isn't it?
Yes, dear, that is love.
Oh, there you are. All right, I'm gonna put my cards on the table. I got a weak heart and can't take the pressure. If this goes on any longer, the old ticker's gonna give out. Please tell me, is there going to be a wedding or not?
Yes.
Oh, thank the good Lord in heaven.
Aldolfo and the chaperone are getting married.
What?
There you are. I have wonderful news. There's going to be a wedding.
We know.
You know?
Yes, we just heard.
But who told you?
I did.
But how did you know?
What difference does it make?
Mrs. Totendale and I are actually married in the garden at 7:30 this evening.
What?
What? Oh, yes.
Well, congratulations to everyone.
Say, what kind of a cockamamie wedding is this? Everyone's getting married except the bride and the groom.
There you are. Oh, Janet, I've been looking everywhere for you.
Hello, Mr. Martin.
Please don't be like that. Can't you find it in your heart to marry me? Janet, it's our wedding day. George has gone through all this trouble, and well, I do love you. More than I can say.
But you kissed another woman.
Yes, and I just can't understand it. I know this may sound ridiculous, but when I was kissing that French girl, why, it was just like I was kissing you.
Oh, Robert, you are kissing me.
You mean you're Mimi? Well, that French accent was remarkably accurate.
Why, thank you. I developed it when I played the role of Monique in Hold That Baguette.
There you are. Now, before you do anything, think about this. No matter how well you play the role of happy wife, you'll never get a standing ovation.
Oh, I just don't know. Oh, I'm so confused. Chaperone! Oh, just this once, please give me some advice that is coherent and appropriate to the situation. Should I marry Robert?
Now, here it comes. The moment I was talking about. Not only the culmination of the plot, but also a moment that has fascinated me more than any other and has brought me back to this record again and again. Here it comes.
Well, my advice to you is,
And this is it. Listen.
while you can.
You see? You can't quite make out what she says because someone drops a cane. Here, I'll play it for you again.
While you can.
Is she saying, live while you can, or leave while you can?
While you can.
I mean, it's Beatrice Stockwell, so it might just be a cynical quip, but this is a wedding after all, and it's exactly what you're thinking when you're standing at the altar, isn't it? Do you live, or do you leave? And you have to live, because you do love her in some way. I mean, it's not an exact science. An arrow doesn't come out of the sky and point to the one you're supposed to be with. So one day you say it to someone. You say, I love you, and you phrase it as a question, but she accepts it as fact. And then suddenly, there she is standing in front of you with tears in her eyes and a $3,000 dress on, and her nephew made the hoopah. And so what do? You say, I was kidding, I was joking. No, you live, right? And for a few months, you stare at the alien form beside you in your bed, and you think to yourself, who are you? Who are you? And then one day you say it out loud. Then it's couples counseling and trial separation. And all your conversations are about her eating disorder or your Zoloft addiction. And you're constantly reevaluating and redefining and revisiting until you finally lose the deposit on the house and the whole relationship ends on a particularly ugly note. With your only copy of Gypsy spinning through the air and smashing against the living room wall. But still, in the larger sense, in the broader sense, it's better to have lived than left, right?
While you can.
You have no idea how many times I've listened to that.
Oh, chaperone, you certainly have a way with words. Robert, my answer is yes. I will marry you.
Wonderful! Wonderful!
Well, Mr. Feldzig, it looks like this wedding is a done deal. Now you're in trouble. And there's nothing you can do about it.
But there is. A new leading lady. Presenting. Kitty, the Incredible. All right, Kitty. Show these boys how you can read my mind. My mind.
Kitty, will you marry me? Holy cats, Mr. Feldzig! Yes! Yes!
Isn't she amazing?
Well, what are you waiting for? You ladies go put on your frillies, and we'll all get married in one big clump. That's how they do it in Utah.
Well, George, I don't know how you managed to pull it off. 4 weddings in one day. I guess you're everyone's best man now.
I am?
Of course.
I am!
Hip hip hooray!
He's George, the best man, George.
I'm honored to be doing what a best man ought.
He's basking in the glory of a fight well fought. Wedding bells will ring, wedding bells will chime, wedding bells will celebrate a happy wedding time. Wedding bells will celebrate a
Minister, you may begin. Oh no, I forgot the minister. Who the hell are you?
I'm Trix, the aviatrix, queen of the sky. To Rio, I was renting when my engine needed mending. I'll fix my navigatrix, and then I'll fly and let you love first sight. But not so sorry to crash the party, folks, but we'll have this fixed in 2 shakes and then off to Rio for Carnival.
Wait, the captain of the ship can perform a marriage.
Yes. And a pilot is comparable to a captain.
Yes.
An airplane is kind of cheap. A cheap of the air. Some call it an air cheap.
Oh, shit! Yes! Wait, I got it! Trix, you can marry them on the plane, and we'll all have the honeymoon in Rio!
A bride and groom in a chapel, they bring a tear to the eye. But what a thrill when lovers thrill, I do in the sky. When vows are said and when vows are said, love is a daffodil sigh. But heartbeat touch when sweethearts gush, I do in the sky. To you, we do. To you, we do. To you, we do.
Okay, everybody stay calm. It happens occasionally. It's horrible old apartment with terrible wiring. Just concentrate. Keep the show alive in your minds. Don't talk to anyone. Don't let yourselves be distracted. I'll find the fuse box. Everybody stay quiet.
It's a super.
Oh, God.
Hey,
Hello?
your lights are out.
Yes.
Yeah. We had to shut the power off because we're replacing the breaker panel in the basement.
Yes.
So we replaced it, but when we did, the breakers in all the apartments tripped.
Yes.
That's what happens. It's normal.
Yes.
So I gotta reset your breakers.
Now.
It'll only take a second,
All right.
because I tried calling you earlier before, but there was no answer.
Yes, I've been having a problem with the phone.
Here we go. What was that?
It was a record.
What kind of music was that?
Just music. You know, show. It was a musical.
You like musicals?
No.
I love musicals. I go with the wife all the time. It's amazing what they can do on stage nowadays. Did you see Miss Saigon? They landed a helicopter on stage in that one. Yeah, I've seen them all. I've seen Cats, Les Mis, Saturday Night Fever. I like the movie better.
Really? Well, goodbye. Well, that's it. It's ruined. One note away from the end of the show, and the mood is broken. I should just start the record again from the beginning. No, I can't do that, can I? Just so frustrating. You have to understand, I love this show so much, and I've never even seen it. My mother gave me the record. This was just before my father left us. Oh, he didn't leave because of the record, although I'm sure it didn't help matters. Look, I know it's not a perfect show. The spit-take scene is lame, and the monkey motif is labored, but it does what a musical is supposed to do. It takes you into another world, gives you a tune to carry with you in your head. You know? A little something to help with the dreary horrors of the real world. A little something for when you're feeling blue. No? Stumble along on life's funny journey. As we stumble along into the blue, we look here and we look there, seeking answers everywhere, never sure of where to go or what to do.
Accident waiting to happen.
Still we bumble our way
I don't wanna sing tunes
through life's crazy labyrinth.
Bells will ring, glad bells will chime.
There's a flower of ripe and left of